scouring over Pinterest recently.
Okay.
So I found some more pictures. As far as like color,
you like this tone?
yeah. So I feel like my hair is like too yellowish and brassy looking. So like kind of like the cooler tone, kind of gray color. There's like another one here too. It's also like a cooler tone. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for color. And then I do want to cut it as well. So I'm gonna,
Yeah.
and I have like this like white patch right here. So then when I put my hair up in like a ponytail, it just looks kind of really odd because it's so dark next to it.
Yeah, I'll definitely like highlight this, but you'll still feel like it's a little bit lighter, but at least this won't be as dark.
Yeah.
And then you have one here too.
Yeah, it's like on both sides.
Yeah, like your hairline is dark, but everywhere else is like super salt and pepper.
And so I had gotten like a different salon to do gray blending as well, but I feel like they did some stuff on the bottom in the back, but nothing in the middle. So then like if I wear my hair half up, half down, it just like looks really odd as well.
What do you mean?
So like I think we did like highlights back here.
Yeah.
But then like if I do like a half up, half down, it's like super dark back here.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely keep that up.
So it just looks...
You don't mind it going to the root and everything?
No, I'm fine with that, yeah.
Perfect. And then I'll try to pick up these blonde pieces, but you might still see a little bit of them because it's really hard for me to pull all of them on. Are we doing a haircut?
Yes, I do want to cut it. These are kind of like some of the, so I want to go shorter, definitely. Take off some of these ends. And because my hair is curly, I think I need some sort of like layers so that if I wear it curly, it will kind of triangle out. Like, you know, if you have like a blunt cut and it turns curly. So it's kind of like,
oh, okay.
It's not crazy curly.
Too curly.
No.
Okay.
So like, I feel like we can go shorter.
Let me see the haircut again. Sorry.
Yeah. So like, this one's
do you like the bangs?
Yes, I want to do like kind of like the side swept bangs in the front.
And like a little face frame. And then do you want the back to be graduated or you just want it like textured?
I think textured.
Textured, okay. And then the color, if we do those blends, you still might feel like this parts are like where it's really white is a little bit lighter. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine because it's gonna grow out anyway. So.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure because in the back it'll look really blended, but you're still gonna feel like in this area and this area specifically that it does feel a little bit still lighter of a blend, but at least the ends will be lighter, and I'll try to make the ends a little bit more solid so that it doesn't feel like this is that much lighter.
Yeah. And like kind of like blended in here, like this big black chunk here.
Do you want the front to try and match this blend?
What do you think would look best? Do you think that would be too much?
Let me see. No, I think it would blend better.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make it just even maybe like a smidge lighter, like bolder, and then as it gets back, it's a little bit more dimensional, so it looks more intentional.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever you think is best.
Okay.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this week we have a new client who previously said that she got some gray blending done. The reason why she didn't love her gray blending before, she felt like it faded out really warm and overall the color just didn't feel like it was really blending with her natural gray pattern. So we're gonna go in and just kind of do something that is going to just help enhance her gray and also pick out some of that warmth and try to get her a little bit lighter so that when this color does fade out, it doesn't feel as brassy as it does right now. And then also set her up with some good at-home aftercare to help preserve the color and keep her feeling her best as it fades out. So before I started the color, I already kind of went in and did kind of like a rough cut. We were cutting off quite a bit of length off the bottom, and I always like to just kind of give a little bit of shaping for the cut to kind of see where the color is going to end so that we don't waste any hair color, and also just gives me a really nice visual of where to place my tip outs because essentially that's going to be the brighter parts on the ends. So if I didn't cut her hair, it would kind of just throw the color off a little bit. So it just gives me a really good visual on where to place those tip outs. And then after all the color, I typically do the haircut afterwards as well too. So for this color, we are going to be doing more of like a dimensional placement. If you are new here, I always start in the back for this kind of blend. I do a few foils around the nape, and I always like to weave the hairline. I always find that it gives a nicer blend and softness, but then the rest, as I'm going and working through the back interior, I'm taking this back interior into a mohawk section. So it's going to be a center section of the head. She does part a little bit to the side, so as I get towards the top of the head, I'll start to kind of shift the placement of this mohawk according to where she parts her hair. Now, I'm not saying that her part is going to be exactly in the middle of this mohawk section as I start to shift it towards the top, but I do like to shift it a little bit so that when she does part her hair to the side, it has equal amounts of spill of highlights on both sides where she parts her hair. And I'm working in the back here, taking slices because this is really her interior. She said that her last color, where they did gray blending, they didn't even touch this back part. So it was really important to her that I blend this back portion of her hair as well too. But we're not doing anything that is going to make her feel too solid. So I wanted to preserve some of that natural depth, just to kind of mimic her natural gray pattern, because when I do gray blending, I'm more doing a enhancement rather than completely picking out every white hair. We are assessing how much salt to pepper ratio there is, and then determining what kind of blend, what kind of spacing, how thick of a section we're going to be taking, what volume, how light, and all of those things. And since everyone's gray pattern is different, and it's also different on different parts of their head, I will kind of change up my weaving, the spacing, and all that determine to kind of help blend with their natural gray pattern. Now, when we saw in the consultation, she had a little bit of a whiter patch around her hairline, and then the rest of her hairline was on the darker side, and she wanted something that was going to just kind of help blend that a little bit more. So we are doing something that's going to be a little bit lighter in the front, but nothing too chunky. Lately, I feel like a lot of clients have been like steering away from doing a very chunky money piece. I just find when you're doing great blending, the whole point is to create something that is going to be low maintenance. And if a client's hairline technically isn't all white or lighter in the front, I try to do something that is going to be a little bit more blended. So I went ahead and I did some baby lights around her front money piece. I believe I did about 3 baby lights. And then I connect the rest of the mohawk with some micro slices to kind of tie everything together. And then I'm going to work on doing the side. So right now I'm going to be going in and connecting that top money piece to the side. I am weaving it because I weaved the top part as well. And we want just extra softness. We want this color to grow out really seamless around the hairline and just make it look like it's her natural gray that is really just blending so well with the color. And as this fades out, it doesn't really feel like she needs her hair done, but she'll want to just to enhance it because she wants to and not because she really has to. So the key here is to really just make sure that your sections are fully saturated, you are getting a really clean, even lift, and they're nice and see-through to ensure that nice lift as well too. And it's nice that we were able to kind of cut off a lot of that old color. I was looking back at our consult through text message and I saw that she before used to do some permanent color before she did her last gray blending with another hairdresser prior to this visit. So it was nice to be able to cut a lot of that permanent color off so that we are really mostly working with virgin hair. And essentially virgin hair will lift the best compared to any hair that's been color treated or especially has permanent color on it. because whenever a client is putting permanent color on their hair, essentially what you're doing is really depositing a lot of warm tones into the hair. And so the way that I describe it to my clients is when you have permanent color on your hair versus if you were to have just virgin hair that doesn't have any color on it, the color treated hair that has the permanent color is going to be a little bit more stubborn because it's now stained your virgin hair, and the bleach now has to kind of eat through that permanent color to kind of get your hair lighter before it gets and reaches your hair to get it blonder. And in the process of that, it doesn't fully lift as clean as virgin hair would. And what I mean by clean is when you lift permanent color versus lifting virgin hair, the permanent color is always going to lift warmer or look warmer. That's why there's always kind of like that saying to not lie to your hairdresser, because we'll always find out, because you know, like the bleach never lies. Like once the bleach is on the hair, we start to see it process. I can immediately tell whether it had permanent color on it versus if it was just highlighted or demi-permanent. There are some key things that will show up. It looks a lot warmer when it has permanent color versus if it didn't, and it just is a lot more stubborn in that sense. And the reason why it's a little bit unhealthier too is if when you're lifting up permanent color is because one, it's more stubborn, so that means the lightener has to sit on the hair a little bit longer, which essentially can put more stress on the hair, dry it out a little bit more because the lightener is technically sitting on there longer. Or you might have to break it up into a few sessions because your hair just can't take it, because it is so warm at that point. So there's just a lot of different factors on that sense, but just an idea, because I always kind of get asked why it's so different and why it kind of matters doing certain types. And also, for instance, like if it's like a professional color versus a box dye color, it does sometimes matter because a box color is almost like double the amount of warmth it would if you were just using a salon permanent color. And it also depends too on the gray percentage I find with clients' hair and whether the permanent color is more difficult to take out. And every one of these is really case by case. I have a really good idea of what it might look like through pictures and their hair texture. But seeing them in person too, and actually going through this whole process, even though I pretty much do something very similar in all of my clients, there are just little things that I need to tweak or alter because their hair lifted a certain way, or I know it's going to lay or fade a certain way, so I need to address it differently than I did the last client. So enough of that. I wanted to finish up by saying that I finished up foiling her roots. So now I'm going in and just doing my final touches. This is my absolutely favorite part of foiling any type of color, in my opinion, is doing the tip outs. This just helps elevate every look that I do, and it makes a huge difference. I feel like I started really falling in love with doing this as I saw how impactful it was when you do certain tip outs, and there's so many different tip out techniques. My favorite one is to do a over direction, tease and weave, and then paint at a slant, but you can do any type of tip out. I just feel like doing it anyway in general does make the color look 1,000 times better. So I lifted my client to about like a level 9 and 10, and I am going to be going in with a shadow root toner formulation. And you know, when I was looking at her gold photo, it looked more of like a gray neutral tone, and we were discussing the fade on that tone, and she did express one of the main things that she first told me was that her hair from the last gray blending session that she really didn't like was that it got really yellow. And so my main concern at this point was the main thing that she didn't like about her last color was the tone and the way that it faded. So I discussed some options that she had, because the photo that she showed me would essentially kind of fade out blonde quite quickly. So I offered to her another formula that is going to be a little bit more pigmented than her photo, and I asked her like straight up if she would be okay having some Violet Hues in her hair, because by doing so it would help prolong the color. It'll also help cancel out even more yellow, so that when it does fade out completely, it's not as yellow if we were to do a different toner that didn't have as much ash pigment. And so these are just some things that I try to make sure that I explain to my clients, that we could do the color that they're asking for, but based off of the experience they had last time and why they didn't love the color, she might have experienced that if I were to do the exact same toner. So we both decided that we were going to do a more pigmented version. She agreed that doing a more violet-y version she was going to be okay with, and I assured her that the violet in this toner will fade out in about maybe 2 or 3 washes and then give her the color that she wants. And in the meantime, as she washes her hair and that fades out, it will last longer versus if I were to just immediately just tone her to the original picture that she showed me. So it's just certain things that like I'll ask my clients based off of what they feel. And you know, sometimes some clients are like, no, I don't want to do the purple. I'm okay with it fading it quickly and getting a little bit warmer, but because her main concern was that last one faded too warm and it didn't last very long, that is the only reason why I suggested doing a more pigmented version, so that this could last longest. And I knew no matter what, this is going to fade out warm and really just fade into her goal photo anyways. So for her toner, I did the Danger Jones Gloss toners. We did the 5-1, and then I used their artistic toner with silver and violet. We let this sit for, I would say, maybe like 10 to 15 minutes because I really wanted it to get as full pigment as possible and get the most out of the color.
Very different. Very different. Yeah, the blending looks good. A little bit violet, but
yeah,
you said it's gonna wash out.
Yeah, it is.
Oh wow, it looks good. I love that it's not yellow anymore.
Alrighty guys, so here is the finished look. Everything looks super blended and pretty. I love this length on her too, and I feel like her grays in between the highlights that we did just blends extremely well. She's able to kind of maintain the more ash tone at home using some purple shampoo and a purple mask if she'd like, but otherwise she lifted really well, so I have no doubt that it's going to just like fade out really pretty into a nice pretty blonde, and she has the option to wear it both ways, whether she wants it more ashy or a little bit on the warmer side. I feel like both will blend really well with her gray pattern based off of how light she left it. Alrighty guys, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, and as always, I will talk to you guys next week.